Hey there, everyone. Sherman here at Barrington Real Estate. Today I'm here with Dinesh. Hey, Dinesh.
Hi.
There with us.
Hey.
Dinesh is owner-operator of Soda. They do architect and design and manage build projects for new build houses and additions properties. So we're going to learn a little bit about his business, about what he does, and what drives him all day and all night build these houses.
Yes, that's right.
So away we go. First of all, Dinesh, thank you for being here with us.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
And yeah, what I really want to know is, where were you when you first had the inkling to think of, I want to be involved in design and architecture?
Yeah, this was going back several years. When I originally thought about becoming an architect, it wasn't my initial thought. I always thought I wanted to be an artist of some sort because I was always really creative and was well versed in drawing and painting.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got more involved in the engineering aspects. I started to think, is there a fuse between science and art? And the more I thought about it was, there really is, and it's called architecture. Okay. So the best thing for me to get myself involved in was something like becoming an architect. And that happened very early on, I would say in my early adulthood, probably when I was about 18, 19, about to go off, thinking about where's my path going, and ended up leading me, many years later to here where I am running my own office at this time in Hamilton.
And that is like right at adulthood, like right there. That's
right
there.
It was strange because going out of high school and you never know what you're doing, right? So you apply to all these things, and a couple of opportunities came up where I got to go and witness architects working on a day-to-day basis kind of thing, because
Where was that? Tell me a little bit about that.
So those were a few offices. One was in Stony Creek, one was in Hamilton. I later worked with those companies when I was going through school. So before I graduated my first undergrad, I started working with those companies as well, so that I had some industry experience outside of just books.
So you get just to kind of learn, get a little hands-on experience as well.
That's right. Yeah, but prior to all of that, I just went to their office to take a look at it, to see, are you guys okay if I just shadow for a couple of hours just to see how the day-to-day operations go?
Yeah.
And it's a little quieter because a lot of people are focused and really onto their computers and doing their jobs. But the creative aspect to it, and seeing how the architects were working and the back and forth with clients, and that's really what I think just enticed me to want to continue to move forward in this profession. And that's when I got into the schooling and just never looked back.
I love that, kind of get a little experience. You're like, okay, guys like that, I'll see you in a couple of years.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. Yep.
And then I guess tell me, following your passion is one thing, but in terms of running a business, there's always, some challenges, successes and failures. Tell me of any challenges you've had as a business owner and how maybe you've overcome those, or any challenges that still persist.
It's loaded, man. That's a loaded question. And running a business is very different than working in a business.
Yeah.
So, when I started this company, it was just over a year. Prior to that, I was running teams at some of the largest architect offices in Ontario. Okay. One of the offices is the largest Canadian run office, nationwide.
Okay. Hi guys, largest Canadian nationwide architectural office.
Yeah.
Give a quick shout out.
Yeah, great. So I did work in Toronto for 2 years at a company called Dialogue Design, where we focused on, and they were a multidisciplinary office with 5 studios all around.
Oh boy.
4 in Canada, 1 in the States. And I ended up working both in laboratory and healthcare design, and then started to dabble into the residential side.
Yeah.
But while doing that, I was working with teams. I was leading some of the projects alongside team members, and that became a very interesting opportunity for me to take on more of that leadership role.
Yeah.
And it was at that time I really started to think, I think this is where I want to be. I want to be that leadership. I want to take on more and more, and eventually mentor those who want the same as what I wanted, to get to a position where I am, so I can then just become kind of the owner and operator of a business and make sure that it flows the way that I've experienced it flowing at multiple offices over the past 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what led me into and pushed me into this role. So some of the challenges is you're so used to working in an office and understanding the procedures and everything that someone else has put into place.
Yeah.
And then when you start to run your own office, you start to see what the good and the bad were of every office you worked at, and you start to compile everything.
Oh, okay.
But with that comes a ton of hiccups, because you start to realize, well, they probably did it that way for a reason.
These ones don't work, and these ones over here.
Exactly.
Oh,
it didn't weave the way you expect, and then your creativity has to take a turn to, how do I make this still work, but from a business point of view? So it is tricky.
Boy, so it's like you're trying to put together like a 3D puzzle.
Like a 5D puzzle. You're trying to figure out all these moving pieces as it goes. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hear that. You know, a lot of business owners have told me the same thing. They're trying to, put their own process together and figure out how to wear the hats of, whether it be finance or marketing or supply chain management.
For sure.
And customer service as well too.
Yeah.
So one thing I know that you guys, you guys provide a really good experience. What is different about your service you provide that's different than most architecture and design firms?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. When I started the office, originally, the idea was, we knew we were coming into a market where there are very experienced architects in Hamilton. Mm-hmm. And having worked with a few of them when I was going through education, I understood what they were doing and really admired what they were doing, to be quite honest. And when it came down to running and opening an office, I thought to myself, how am I going to compete with the big dogs in the city? Mm-hmm. And the thing was, we are currently the youngest and licensed architect office in Hamilton and in the surrounding area. Okay. And I think with that comes a challenge, but also comes a lot of opportunity. The challenges are, people are looking at you and thinking, well, you're pretty young in the business, right? Do you know enough? Well, with 10 to 12 years of experience, I think we know a good chunk of information. Yeah. Is there still more to learn? Absolutely. But we're excited to learn it. And that's what sets us apart, I think, from a lot of other architect offices, is the fact that we work with our clients, and we don't look at our clients as clients, we look at them as extended team members. Okay. So we work with them to not only design the product or project, we look at them as, we're going to potentially run into some hurdles with the city. Let's work as a team. Yeah. Let's work with some fantastic contractors, ones that we have always worked with in the past, ones that we will, always recommend. And even if there's hiccups in construction, which always is the case, we always work as a solid team, never pointing fingers, but just looking for solutions. And that has always led to really positive reviews coming out of the experiences that the clients feel with us. Yeah, because I know a lot of some clients I know have told me that they've had builds they've done where they've built a brand new house and they've had some hiccups, and it's such a challenging thing. It takes years and years to do. But when you told me kind of about your experience where you provide an experience that is, you're supporting the client all the way through, not just, here's design, here's architecture, here's some stuff on paper, here's how you build a house, bye. Yes, that's right.
When you're supporting them all the way through, it gives a lot of value, because, most people, are maybe never building a home in their lives, or maybe building one once. And if you do this on a regular basis, it just helps them see the path and get a whole lot of guidance on that journey as well. Of course, yeah. And I think that that's another differentiating factor, is the fact that we work with our clients. We don't really imprint a design style to them, saying like, this is what we do. You have to follow this. A lot of architects or designers, as you're driving by, you may see a house and know exactly who's done it. That's not a bad thing, because they've refined it to a point where it's become their brand. Yeah. With us, we wanted to make our brand not about the design itself, because for us, that's a product for somebody. That's an end product for somebody else. And that's a reflection of the individual. That's a reflection of those people using the space, whether it's commercial or residential. Yeah. And in our opinion, that should be the brand. And that's our brand, is we focus around our clients. What they may want, we may be able to present them and provide them with something they never saw or thought of previously. But at the end of the day, they feel as involved as we do designing it, because that's just, it is their project, so their product. Speak to them as much as it speaks to you. Exactly. Okay. All right. Hey, I like that. I'm gonna jot that. You want to trademark that one? Speaks to you as much as speaks to us. Yeah, that's trademark. I like that. 2020, so to 2024 or 2024. And now, hey, if we're changing gears a little bit here, sure. Dinesh, tell me something that maybe most people don't know about you. Anything fun and interesting? Nothing too crazy. Yeah. Something fun that most people might not know about you. Yeah, sure. One thing people don't know is that there's a couple actually. One, I played pretty competitive soccer for about 10 years. Okay. And then stopped before I went off to my second undergrad in architecture. Where bend it like Beckham,
Yeah.
or is it like Ronaldo? Which one?
I'm not that good, but I wasn't bad, right? So we did play a few tournaments for provincial, so that's something that was interesting.
Yeah.
That I've done. The other interesting thing is I studied abroad in Barcelona for 6 months and studied under some really interesting architects while I was there. And with that, was able to bring some pretty interesting and kind of unique experiences and project ideas back here.
Now, I've seen some pictures of Barcelona. Barcelona, am I saying it right?
Barcelona. Yes.
And like the city, the way the city's made it and their grid pattern is
phenomenal.
I don't think I've seen anything like that.
No, it's a one of a kind city layout. A planner's dream, I would say.
It seems like it's easy to get around too. It's like, oh, we're going this way. Zip, zip, zip.
Yeah. And despite it all looking the same, even when you're at ground level, you somehow just know where you're going. It's incredible.
How would you? Because I've seen like those little community blocks they have.
Yep.
They look identical, and like they're everywhere.
It seems to be the landmarks that they've placed around the city, so you know. Oh, as I'm walking, I know where that is. If I go into a couple of blocks, I'll hit this store. Or I'll hit this. I'll hit my street to get home. Just end up knowing things because it's very artist heavy, and it's in like the most beautiful of ways.
And any giant sculptures around there that you really love?
I mean, if you want to say sculpture or building, the Sagrada Familia by Antonio Gaudi. So that's a beautiful building. It should be completed next in 2026, marking his 100-year death.
Okay.
But that was a building that was basically a sculpture that you could sit in, and it's a beautiful cathedral.
My goodness, I think I saw some pictures of it being built. I don't think I've really seen the scope of it.
Oh, it's stunning.
Maybe a trip to Barcelona.
That's it.
Want to do an Instagram giveaway for trip to Barcelona?
Yeah, maybe one day. Yeah,
we'll sit on that for now.
Sure.
And then the two last questions. One thing is, you work here in Hamilton. Tell us something that you love about the city and that you'd like to share with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I was born and raised in Hamilton, so even despite moving to Ottawa for my first undergrad, coming back home for a few years, and then going out to Calgary and then going out to Barcelona, I always knew that home was here.
Yeah.
I have this weird sense that this is where it's just supposed to be, right? What I love about this city is the fact that it's a young city, and I see a lot of opportunity in terms of building back up to what it once was. I saw it when it was in its prime, right? When I was in the young days, where the factories were booming, and you saw all these really cool, let's say, like mom and pop shops, going up. And then also with the, when COVID came, a lot of those stores had to close, and now I'm starting to see that there is this kind of, we're moving back up. I love that idea, and I really want to be a part of that journey with the city. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing I kind of qualify myself as kind of like a realtor foodie. I don't know what that is.
Sure.
But yeah, a lot of great new restaurants are kind of popping up here.
Yeah.
From all over.
Yeah, restaurants, really interesting. Just even clothing stores, bookshops, like those are the sorts of things that make Hamilton.
Yeah. And then last but not least is, tell me about any people who've been really important to the success of your business you want to give thanks to.
Yeah, a lot of people. I think the biggest driving force was my son, to be honest with you. It was a terrifying time when I started the business. My son had just turned 1. And but every time I looked at him, I knew what I was doing it for. So whether he knows it or doesn't, or he watches this video in the future at some point, he was probably the one that drove me the hardest to be where I am today, and drives me continuously to be better moving forward. My wife, obviously, my parents, couldn't have done it without them, and my sister. I would say my family has been the one supportive rock that if I needed to lean on anyone, it was them, and they were always there.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Hey, family is fantastic, and it's tough to do that without family and a good support system. Right?
Of course. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for joining us and for kind of sharing your story.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys, you can find Dinesh
You can find us on Instagram at, I think it's at Soda Inc. And you can also check out our website at www.sodainc.ca.
Yeah, you'll be able to see some pictures of various designs you guys have done, maybe some projects you guys are working on in the future. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about design, architecture, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely.
And everyone, thank you much for joining us. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.